A little late, but always on time when it comes down to it. Welcome to another episode of From the Logo Podcast. You got myself, Hayes. We got ZZ in the building. Gifted's on his way coming through. Yesterday was an active day in the NBA, Z. And this is the day that the NBA season officially tips off today. We got some great matchups coming down the pipeline today to kick off the NBA season. But first, before we do that, I want to start off with the main topic that we're getting into today. That's all the rookie scale contract extensions that were given out yesterday. It's a really good one to do a deep dive into. We can also look at some of the players that did not get their contract extensions. But let's go ahead and kick it right off at the start. The first one that was kind of announced yesterday was Moses Moody, 3 years, $39 million. This was a guy that I wasn't sure if he was going to get his contract extension. Now, it did come out earlier in the day that the Warriors were expecting to try to offer him around mid-level exception money. This is right where that is, a little bit over mid-level exception money. He gets about $2.5 million over the full mid-level exception. How are you feeling about this deal for Moses Moody?
Phenomenal. I just hope that Steve Kerr, plays him. That's it, and there isn't any discrepancies as to why he isn't on the court in certain spurts for the Warriors, because essentially he's a bench piece that is very valuable to this team when he's knocking down threes, if he's got to take on tough POA assignments. Welcome to the show, Gifted. But yeah, this is a guy that is very valuable to this team, and somebody that I thought Steve Kerr was somehow stunting his growth because of his decision making when he decided to play him versus when he didn't. But this essentially kind of assures Warriors fans of at least he feels like he's getting accepted. Like the same issues that Jonathan Kuminga had last year, where he just told the media, like, bro, I'm not playing. It's not to the extent of like Eric Bledsoe tweeting out saying, what he said when he was in Phoenix. It's not that extent, but it's like you see the potential and you see why a player like him is frustrated because he feels like he's not contributing. The same exact thing applies to Moses Moody. So with this deal, I look at it, I'm like, okay, all right, Steve, don't fuck this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't piss off the fans. Don't piss off the internet warriors, or however you want to call it. Because I tell you, if there's one player on the Warriors that got the most like empathy, sympathy, like support, it was Moses Moody. Moses Moody last year. It was Moses Moody. So happy for that man. He got his bread.
Go ahead, Gifty. I can tell you got takes already. What's up? Moses Moody, his contract extension.
First off, shout out to the people. NBA season literally back tonight. We made it through the offseason, y'all. I can't wait for all the games that we're gonna be able to watch and react to. First I want to say, OBS, you tripping. My camera been lagging like badly. I had to do a whole lot of processes, but we're gonna get that right. In terms of the Golden State Warriors, this Moses Moody contract made me laugh because like it just made me laugh because it's like seeing all the players that they were playing over him when it made no sense. Seeing him play productive for you over Jonathan Kuminga in the playoffs for multiple postseasons made no sense. That was funny. And then to see him get that tag where it's perfectly fitting as a good contract under the new CBA, and that's like the perfect value where it's slightly above the mid-level, was perfect. The funny part is like it's almost like they knew his value and were playing with him to make sure other teams wouldn't try to pitch up too high. Like my conspiracy now is, well, damn, maybe it was so stupid to not play him. It was intentionally stupid so your market wouldn't be too high. Because I think Moody can fit in this offense. And if you watch preseason, and I don't want to be a preseason prisoner, but he played well. Like, I don't care too much about how the shots are going in, right? That matters. But the way he was flowing into shots, right? Like his shot tendency to shoot, he was the most aggressive version of himself, basically saying, I'm not getting benched again. It's not going to happen. Like, he was playing at that level. And to me, that is a player that fits into the system. 7'2" wingspan. I'll never forget the game against Jaylen Brunson where he locked him up all night long. He's capable of doing things like that. So the contract makes a ton of sense, but it really makes you ask, damn, why were y'all waiting so long to play him? And actually, so now if he winds up getting 25 minutes now, I'm like, all right, bro, I know what y'all did. Like if he winds up not being a 10th man, which I projected this season, he's going to probably be like a 9th man or 10th man. If he actually gets like meaningful minutes where it's 20 plus now, I'm looking at you like, oh, so y'all knew this whole time how you felt about him. You just didn't want to overpay because of contract stuff. I will be tight about that if that happens. But
listen,
we'll see.
I look at this and I say this: learn from the from the situation that you ran into with Jordan Poole. If they learn from, they get a couple of more extra years there. It is what it is. I also think that's why Kuminga didn't get his deal. I know we're going to talk about the pending restricted free agents that didn't get their deal, but I do think there's some hesitancy because they thought they had a young core before that, then 100%. They have to move off from that, and maybe there's a bit of that. But Moses Moody has tons of potential. It's a 3-year deal, so that it's not like they signed him to the full length 5-year extension they could have given him. He'll be 25 years old when this extension's up, still entering his prime. He'll have more than enough time to make a lot of money.
Yeah, facts.
So that's a fact. That's a fact. And there's nothing like a motivated contract here, Jonathan Kuminga. Only problem is if a team throws a bag at him, you now have to match it, and it might be more than what you could have offered now,
bro. And like
that's the one thing about it.
The rumor came out with Kuminga is that they offered him a contract extension around $30 million. He wanted $43 million, which is $2 million less than his max. So even if he balls out and you'd have to pay his max, you only lost out on $2 million per year worth of savings if that's the case. So I mean, it's calculated risk there too. So
yeah, they trying to be cautious about this. I think that they learned from the Jordan Poole situation, if you will, because
they so bad that they had to learn from that. That should have been obvious to not pay him immediately. But
I said the same thing. I was like, this is a guy like, and here's the thing.
Did they extend him a year early too, if I'm not mistaken? Wasn't it a year
they paid him and Wiggs at the same time? In my opinion, he might have paid him because of the Draymond punch. Because remember, he got paid like right after that, like the same week.
Yeah, I look at that and I'm just like, yo, like they looked at that and they were like, okay, we can't go down that path again of just overcompensating too early. And when you look at it back then, I was even questionable because I was like, this is Jordan Poole, love him to death, but his rookie year was statistically one of the worst rookie years ever. So him having that leap was great, in the vibes of the team were at an all-time high because it wasn't just Jordan Poole playing his part, which he was. Guys like Otto Porter were having great years for the Warriors off the bench at that time. Like everybody was. Kevon Looney, don't even get me started. Like everyone was contributing. Wiggins in the same breath throughout the postseason and into the finals. So they learned for sure. If by some grace of the basketball gods we get a crack at a championship this year, or for the foreseeable future with Steph's what's left of his prime years, we're going to be very cautious about that. Jonathan Kuminga is banking on himself, which, like Gifty said, is a scary sight when you consider the fact that over the last season alone, I thought he was in consideration for most improved player, jumping from, I think, 9 points to about like 16, 17 a game. But his mid-range came back more polished. He was still as athletic as he was in previous years. And you can see the progression there. So you're monitoring the situation, me as a Warriors fan, and then Steve Kerr as the fucking head coach, and not flipping his minutes around still, throwing him into the starting lineup, trying to figure out where he fits perfectly at. So, yeah, you look at that and you're just like, all right, he's going to have to ball out this year if he wants that bread. And like y'all said, if that happens, it could be a two-way street. Teams you're going to have to end up matching a deal because you bit off a little bit more than you can chew about this player. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. But let's get into the next set of contract extensions. Let's go to the Houston Rockets. Jaylen Green gets 3 years, $105 million. It's the first ever 2+1 contract that was signed that goes over $100 million. Also, it's a player option in the third year, not a team option. And he has a 10% trade kicker if they do trade him while he's on this deal as well. Jaylen Green's agent did good. Alfred Sengun as well. 5 years, $185 million. 5th-year player option on that one. How you guys feeling about the Rockets re-signing 2 of their young core?
I feel like I'm about to be childish, and I try not to be. I try to be mature in all ways, but the way I found out about him getting extended was crazy because it wasn't through Shams. It was through someone screenshotting Drea talking about some.
Oh my!
I'm like, oh god. Yeah. But nah, I think Jaylen Green came out as a bandit, honestly, because for a guy that was largely terrible for the majority of last year, outside of a couple months stretch, I think leveraging that into a situation where you're getting paid good money, and you have still a chance to prove yourself for an even bigger bag makes a ton of sense. At least it's not breaking the bank all the way for Houston because they didn't want to give him and Şengün the same type of max, so that worked out for them at the very least. I do think they're going to have to show their value pretty soon, though, because these contracts, I mean, we understand how this new CBA works. They were hesitant to want to pay them because of their freedom and their flexibility. So got to see him ball out. Shout out to Jalen Green, but I really hope he's able to be a balanced player this overall season because he is the X factor on if they can really make the playoffs or not.
Yeah. For me, props to my man for getting the bag. Shout out Jalen Green. You know what I'm saying? He did ball out as soon as he became a father. So at least you can say that there's some maturity in his game at one point. But for me, when I look at him overall and the situation in Houston, they have a lot of players, man. They just do. Off the top of my head, like Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, Alperen, of course, Steven Adams, Jabari Smith Jr., Torrey Eason, Reed Shepherd now. So this season is going to be very interesting for me to watch the Houston Rockets, which is why I'm going to be paying close attention because depending on how it goes, like you can look at them and say they have solid role players and budding young stars, if you will. For Jalen Green, the question for me last year was, who are you as a player? Still haven't figured that out. I'm not going to lie to you. I saw PC's rankings for the top 5 shooting guards, and Jalen Green was number 5. Shout out Mars Mazanin. I don't know how, but it is what it is. We gonna have to see. For me, him getting along, him not only securing the bag and then securing the player option is the most important part. That was the part that stuck out to me because I was like, oh, okay. So you putting the ball in your court essentially while securing the bag, but everybody seems like they're monitoring the situation. If you don't pan out to be the player that they drafted you to be, then, discussions can be made and you can walk out that door because we still got Alperen, we still got Reed Shepherd, we still got Jabari Smith Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like we still got Amon Thompson. So we have a lot at our disposal. So Jalen Green essentially he secured himself, but Houston is looking at this like, all right, bro, if it doesn't work out, we'll still be cool. We still can make some things work. We still can make some things shake. So I feel like this was literally good for both sides.
Yeah, it was a good deal. I think that the Alperen deal was good. Like Alperen is somebody that you can build your offense, and they ran their offense to him. Now, Jalen Green, I understand him getting the 2+1 because a lot of his growth last season happened after Alperen went down, and the defensive ability that he showed at the latter part of that season. We had just never seen Jalen Green be that consistent of a defender, and it was great to see. If he can do that, he's more than going to get a max. He may even opt out of that after 2 years and re-up with them then. And so it's a calculated risk in both sides. The Houston Rockets just continue to be a team that is just being very smart about what they're doing here lately. Yeah. After being stupid for a long time, they've been a very smart front office.
Yeah, facts.
So, anything left on the Rockets before we move on?
Hell no.
Nothing on the Rockets, but I got a nice little in-between pivot. I'm going to wait for our next topic, and then after that, I'll do it, but I got to get it, Hayes. You know what time it is. I'm going to leave it alone for now. But we're gonna
get it. What?
You're gonna see. I'll introduce it after this next batch of contracts. I'll wait.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Next contract we're gonna get into Jaylen Johnson with the Hawks. 5 years, $150 million. At this point, we need to understand $30 million is about to be the bare minimum per year for if you're slightly above role player, it's $30 million. Like that's just the contract at this point. But Jaylen Johnson, a player that took a big step last year, could take another big step, especially as they're moving forward. And they made a lot of changes to that roster. How you guys feel about the Jaylen Johnson deal? 5 years, $150 million.
If we, as an NBA community, can lock in and stop looking at these numbers to indicate player worth, I think we'll be much better for it because the 10% cap spike every year is going to inflate all of these numbers to a point where 30 becomes the new 50 and then on and on and on at some point, right? So to me, this isn't bad at all. His cap hold is not that great. And also they view him as he could potentially be a number 2 option type of player, maybe even more. I don't know if he can be like quite that good, but definitely like his peak could be a number 2 player, in terms of what his skill set is. So I think that's great value. And the best part about this is it's a 5-year deal. I think with no options, it's just like all the way through
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great value for the team. So I think the Hawks got like pretty good value there, honestly. And it's good to lock it in now before the new money really pours in, because then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I actually wanted more, but now you're trapped in this 5-year contract. So I think that's a good move on the Hawks for sure.
Yeah, his leap last year, like I didn't watch a lot of Hawks games. I mean, who the fuck did? But I didn't watch a lot of Hawks games besides to see how good he really was, just because I had heard that there was a significant leap in his game around the midway point in the season. Of course, Gifted was alluding to it, of course, in the earlier episodes of From the Logo. But this year, I'm gonna pay attention to more Hawks games, mainly because I'm interested to see what the hell is gonna happen with Trey Young. And the fact that they have the least talked about number 1 pick in the history of basketball.
Yeah, yes, he is the least talked about. Yeah,
and it's insane, because for me, I hope that what's the hell? What's his last name? Risa Shear? Chat, help me out. Risa Shear. I'm just gonna start calling him Zachary, because ain't nobody else in the league that you can really look at besides Zach Edey, but whatever. Yeah, Zachary. I'm interested to see the progression of his game and what that actually translates to for the Atlanta Hawks and what they need, right? Because with Trey Young, consistently, you could at least say Trey Young has given you north of 23 and 10 assists in the last few years, right? So in terms of his game alone, it's not like the production isn't there from an individual standpoint. From the team overall, like there was that one point in the season last year where they were at 500 for like a very large sum of games. They were just dead at 500 overall. And you sat there and you thought about it and you were like, yeah, no matter how good Trey Young has been or individual players have been in certain spots, this team overall has been mid, and produced mid results. So Jaylen Johnson, him securing his bag, like Gifty said, before the big money gets here, is the key part in all of this, because you can end up in a situation where you look at him last year averaging 16 a game. What was his splits? 16 a game, and a jump in splits to 51%. Yeah, 35% from 3 on 4 attempts.
He was hooping. I'm trying to tell you, he was hooping, man.
Bro was hooping.
He was hooping.
And of course, let me also put this in perspective. In his first and second year, he was playing first year 5.5 minutes a game, second year about 15. Last year, he's playing 34. So damn near close to, when you look at his per 36 minutes, oh my goodness, I'm actually curious. His per 36 minutes, he's averaging, let me see, what's that? Yeah, he's averaging 17 a game. So yeah, and then you look at it from his rookie and his sophomore year, it was the same thing. Like his per 36 showed you that he could be this type of player. And then last year he was given the tools to be that, or the minutes to be that. So great deal for them overall, but it still doesn't fix the Atlanta Hawks. Like I need something this year. If Trey gave me 25 and 10 and y'all finish 41 and 41, I'm gonna be like, nigga, what the fuck we doing?
This might be a Trey Young 30 and 10 season, but I just don't know how high I am on the roster outside of those guys. A lot of their depth are guys who get hurt a lot, which is never like a great thing,
And then y'all see DeJounte when he said that essentially Atlanta had him in the corner, and now in New Orleans he's able to unlock his game or some bullshit like that. When did y'all see DeJounte Murray in the corner? Chat, when did you see?
I mean, no, there were some times.
I can tell you,
DeJounte Murray.
I can tell you. When Trey Young had the ball, DeJounte was in the corner.
Yeah,
I remember distinctively him being brought there for isolation play, and
you know what
I'm saying? And there was that one game where he had like I don't know, he had like 40 or something, but on 44 shots, I was like, God damn.
He took like 48 shots to give. I
was like, yeah, keep going though. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that to your point, like. I think with the Hawks, moving off of DeJounte to me was a step for them to get back to what their real identity was, which was having Trey Young just be a ball dominant guard that isn't really sharing the ball as much. I will say the problem with DeJounte and Trey is that they just took turns. Yeah. So Trey Young would be in the corner. DeJounte Murray, he would be there too. The issue is they weren't using Trey creatively enough where he was an off-ball guy more enough. And if that's on Trey, fine. But I just feel like there were better ways to use that. With Jaylen Johnson, I think you can get very, very creative with his downhill athleticism, right? Using Trey with him in two-man games, sometimes even inverted pick and rolls where Trey can be the screener with his shooting ability, creating the lane for Jaylen Johnson. They should utilize that in a season where they don't have the best talent, they don't have their own pick. Learn what you have in your younger guys and use it. That matters.
Yep.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, I mean, the Hawks are an interesting roster to watch how it goes this year. Because they could have a new young core and eventually try to move on from Trey Young, which is something that I think they should do. I'm just not a Trey Young guy. I don't believe in Trey Young very much at all. Just being 100% honest with you guys. And I think I like the Jaylen Johnson signing, though. I think he's a really nice player there, and we'll see how they continue to develop. Next up, Jalen Suggs. 5 years, $105.5 million, another $30 million a year contract, basically a little bit over $130 million per year. Now, Jalen Suggs has turned into a really good perimeter defender for them, and he's turned into an efficient. He's literally the definition of 3-and-D, efficient enough three-point shooting. I think on about 5.5 attempts, he's basically 40%, which is solid. Those are his two best attributes that he's bringing to the Orlando Magic team. How you guys feeling about this deal?
I thought it was great from a perspective of figuring out, okay, you brought in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and I said to y'all when the trade happened or when the deal happened, this is going to be great for Jalen Suggs, because the biggest issue that Jalen Suggs had throughout his short NBA career up until last season was them being able to really look at him and say, you know what, he is, like Hayes just said, a 3-and-D player. But in order to have that label for me, I don't know about y'all, but I love the golden days of 3-and-D guys, especially for this generation, where you had peak Klay Thompson and peak Wesley Matthews and shit. Like those guys that you knew were reliable 3-and-D guys in their own right. And then as time went on, guys like Reggie Bullock filled that role. And I was like, that is a solid 3-and-D player. Harrison Barnes at one point was looked at as a solid 3-and-D player. So in order to have that label, it's not a situation where you can, like, it's not a bad thing to have one more than the other, which Jalen Suggs has always been a fine defender, and he got better at that as the last 2 seasons have shown you. But him having KCP there to kind of be not necessarily the mentor, but that veteran presence to be like, all right, look, let me show you how I got down and dirty in LA and Denver to win my 2 championships. Like, let me show you how valuable my 3-and-D presence was overall to my team success, right? So that, looking at that assures me that they are looking at the situation and saying, okay, we're going to lock down arguably the two biggest perimeter defensive players that they have on the team in KCP and Jalen Suggs. And then for the development of Paolo this year, I cannot wait to see, because honestly, y'all, what's stopping Orlando from being a 4 seed this year? What's stop besides injuries, of course,
Offense.
What's okay, right. But like Hayes said, you're taking into account Jalen Suggs' 3-point shooting last year, 5 attempts per game, 40% pretty much. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, we know to deal with that. So what they were missing going into when they got bounced out of the playoffs last year, I even said it, they're missing shooting. They have defense, right? Their offense is like okay to watch, but it was enough to get them 7 games off of Cleveland, but they need a shooter. That was why they were throwing so much money at Klay Thompson toward the end of last season in those behind-the-scenes negotiation talks of teams willing to give a bag to a shooter. KCP, you have that shooter, you have that perimeter defender, so that area is at least covered. Now, Gifted, I'm interested to see how, like, it's easier said than done, but we'll see. What are your takes on that?
Okay. Number one thing about Jalen Suggs' contract, I like it because it's a very valuable trade asset for them. Suggs is not old; he's younger. They can still keep him long term on the team as well. But having a guy that was an all defensive caliber player that shot 40% on 5 threes a game, and has a pretty good all around game, has good value as a trade asset. So keeping that and not overpaying him, great pick. I don't hate that at all. In terms of the Magic's proficiency, I think you do want to see Suggs emerge more of a scorer, because his playmaking is okay, but he's not like a great breakdown creator like that. He's more so like a off guard to Paolo and Franz. If he could really be like a true downhill creator with those two, I think they then have an even better player than advertised. So that's going to matter for them. But yeah, I like the Magic. I think the Magic are a very interesting team. I just think in terms of them really being like a top 4 team, they're going to have to show that on a consistent basis they can hang with the best offenses. Their defense is going to be elite. I think they're probably a top 5 lock defense, if you got to ask me. But when you look at the Eastern Conference at like the top, if it's the Bucks or the Cavs or maybe even the Celtics and also the Sixers, these are teams that just have a bit more balance on both ends where they're heavily leaning defense. Their offense, I really want to see more from.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're hoping for Apollo to take that next step, and of course KCP to help them offensively as well. But their defense is going to be so damn good. Like the defense is going to be amazing. Like it's going to be special to watch them defensively. And so they already previously extended Franz Wagner as well on a max contract as well with that one. So they got both the 2 pieces of their young core locked in as well.
They've been doing really well with these contracts too, Hayes.
Yeah,
like
and they get a lot of cap room, cap flexibility if they do want to make like. The best thing that can happen to the Magic is that a disgruntled star looks at them and says,
"Oh yeah,
I can get them over the hump," because they got the cap space to make something happen. And if that were to happen, you better watch out. At that point in time, the Orlando Magic are trying to compete right up there with basically everybody but the Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And they have like the defensive pieces to where if a star had to come over that wasn't a great defender, like it just fits overall. So it's pretty easy to see a star going there and making things work fit wise. I think the other thing that we haven't talked about yet, even though I wish they were more balanced on both ends, if Jonathan Isaac 250 self is actually playing more than 10 minutes and is very good on defense, and they have the number 1 defense, then the two-way stuff kind of goes out the window if they have like the best defense by far, which is wild. If that clicks, we got to see it. But if that does click for them,
about that, Jonathan Isaac's at
too.
250.
I don't know why he's 250.
He's had lower body injuries his whole career. It's not like it's been something else. Like we saw Joel Embiid lose 22 pounds because of lower body injuries. Now Jonathan Isaac is gaining. He's gained the weight that Joel Embiid lost. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. So we'll see how that ends up working out. Trey Murphy, the third with the Pelicans. 4 years, $112 million for Trey. This was the one. If I had to look at anyone being a slight or has the chance of being an overpay, it's this one. Now, I do really like Trey Murphy, but that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for Trey Murphy.
You think so?
I personally think so.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's tough because for me, with the Pelicans, they're in an interesting spot. I haven't looked at their financial situation, so I don't know how much cap flexibility they have, but I know what they do need, and that's a 7-footer. That's what they need. I don't like the experimental small ball shit. The only reason that it worked for the Warriors is because they had the Splash Brothers as the fucking number 1 and number 2 options for the offense. When you look at the Pelicans at their peak of their powers is when Zion is there. So you're banking on that, of course. But if you're going to be putting him or Herb Jones or Trey Murphy at the 5 spot to go up against, like in your conference, the biggest big dog is Nikola Jokic. So your thought process should be as a team overall. Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like you think back to LeBron when he was in the Eastern Conference. It's how do we stop LeBron? You think back to when the Warriors were at their peak. It's how do we stop and contend with this one team? And teams that followed that philosophy and didn't just pull shit out of their ass like the Pelicans running the small ball lineup shit like that's going to make a difference in the Western Conference is crazy to me, considering the fact that you have Nikola Jokic as the biggest fish in that ocean or shark or however you want to look at them. So the Pelicans as a whole, I'm confused about. This right here, I'm inclined to agree with Hayes on. I like Trey Murphy, but 4 years, 120? Is that what you said?
120.
Yeah, that's nothing crazy, but slight overpay. I would say I could agree.
Wait a minute, it's a 4 years, 112.
112.
Okay. You know what? Let's still, but not as bad. All right, cool. Go ahead, Gifty.
Yeah. I like this deal a lot for the Pelicans, and I'll tell you why for a couple reasons. Number one, this tells me Brandon Ingram's out of there.
Oh yeah,
and if he's out of there, then we are going to have Herb Jones, and we're going to have Trey Murphy be our wings next to Zion, which I was yelling this all year last year. Their best defensive lineups featured the both of them without Zion sometimes and without Ingram sometimes. So to me, that makes sense. Also, the upside bet of a player that is good on defense, can shoot the three ball well, and can play with pace. I think he fits into the type of style they want to run with Zion, who's their best player. And to me, if you're trying to make it work with Zion, you have to put the best players around him to fit. And outside of Herb Jones, he fits like a glove. Also, here's my biggest thing. Again, I'm looking at cap hit. If you look year by year by year, in 25-26, he starts at 16% of the cap. Then it is going down every year. So it goes from 16 to 15.8 to 15.5 to 15.06. So that means the cap is going down while the entire cap is going up. So I like that at the very least, right?
That makes sense.
And yeah, and I'm just saying this, right? Like Suggs is a better player than Trey Murphy, right? I would say that for sure. But Trey Murphy as the two-way wing, who if Ingram is gone, gets more shots to go up on volume. Because I think Trey Murphy is a better three-point shooter and can probably score better than Suggs. If he gets more volume with Pelicans' overall development next to Zion, who's going to up his shot quality, what's to say he can't grow into being a much better player? Especially if we're looking at $30 million essentially being like the mid-tier max. It's not like a full max, right? But like a mid-tier max where like he's making 25, 27, 29, and then 31, right? 30. Right, 30 right now, we're looking at to basically be all the way mid-tier. He's not making above 30 until the last year on his deal. So that's why I like the deal for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, and then also like you pointed out too, like by the end of that deal, even though it goes up every year, it's going to be 15% of the salary cap. And that's really how we do need to start talking about these outside of just as we're still adjusting to these new numbers.
Right.
Is talk about it also and what percentage of the salary cap it is, because 15% of your salary cap it's not that bad of a deal.
Yeah.
Regardless.
And the best part to me, though, is I'm also viewing it from the lens of, okay, if I need to trade him, he has the salary to get a good player back if you needed to. And what his skill set is on that can be deemed as one of the best contracts in the league if he raises himself overall to that point. So that's why I really like it, right? It would be different if this was maybe 120 where, okay, damn, it goes 30, then 33, then 35. If you're capping out at 31 for Trey Murphy, I don't think that's an overpay.
Okay, fair. We'll see. I mean, he does have the capability to, and I mean, the good thing about it is they literally have him locked up till he's 28 years old. That's throughout most of his prime.
No player option.
Yep.
Yeah.
No player option. So, I mean, yeah, there you go. Good deal on that one. I think that's it on the card. Oh, Corey Kispert. We missed Corey Kispert because my brain just the way it works. I overlook anything with Wizards in it. I just
anything Wizards. Yeah,
Wizards is just like don't look at that. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, but Corey Kispert, 4 years, $54 million. It's basically mid-level exception money. I'm not mad at that at all.
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
Good.
They don't know the direction they're going in for real. So having him back on that number. Not an overpay, so they'll try to make it.
Yeah, $13.5 million is cool. Like at this point, like that's the mid-level exception. It's nothing.
Basically, yeah.
He chilling. They not chilling. They gonna be ass.
The thing is, they chilling. That's the problem.
No, they're literally chilling.
I'm saying
they're literally chilling. Yeah,
they're chilling in the fact that ain't no expectations at all to the pack. I'm not gonna lie to you.
At all,
their expectations lowered from last year when Kyle Kuzma sent that tweet. Like, that's like from that point off, these niggas fell off a cliff to the point where while the Pistons were still losing and getting their ass kicked, which with the crazy part about the Pistons was a lot of those games, they just lost down the stretch. They lost
listen, literally as a Detroiter that went to these games on God, went to these games, they lost every game for the most part outside of the Philly game I went to. Because they got beat the shit out of in that game. But outside of that game, in every game, it came down the stretch and it was turnovers and they could not execute. And that's how they lost. But they're competitive in every quarter outside of the fourth.
Which I tell you as much. I don't care what anybody says because both these two cheeks are the same ass. But I don't care. I will take
I've never heard
two cheeks in the same ass.
It's hilarious.
W phrase.
I got that from a comment section, but I said it. The crazy part is, quick story time. I said it on the panel in the live chat. because they were arguing about the Wizards and the Pistons, I think, in the episode for the rankings yesterday. And I was like, why are we arguing over two cheeks of the same ass? Somebody was like, it's easy out here stealing quotes. I said, oh, Nick, okay. Like,
so? Okay.
Your point?
Like, what?
That's what I would have said. Like, yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm still. I was like, what are you, the quote police? He said, you're noted. I said, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
you're noted is hilarious, bro.
What? But yeah, it's all good though. We yeah. Two cheeks of the same ass. But I'll tell you this much: I'll take Detroit over Washington, and I'll stand on that hill. Washington is just a fool of themselves.
I don't even think that's a hot take, to be honest.
It's not a hot take. I'm telling, because when you, like you said, Gifted, if you watch the Pistons games, it's not like they're incompetent as a team. The Wizards are incompetent as a team, because the fact that Jordan Poole was over there, and originally, like y'all remember, they thought he was going to average 29 a game, lead the league in scoring on terrible efficiency. It was
bad last year, bro.
All of this shit. And I'm like, dude, if y'all think this, then y'all must have just said, all right, he got hit by Draymond, and just didn't watch a Warriors game after that year. Because let me tell you, when it came to game management, game time decision making in the sense of him having the ball, even in the playoffs, y'all remember that 20-footer that he shot?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a bad shot, because at the end of the day, I ain't seen him make it. But in that moment where you got Klay Thompson and or Steph Curry to get a ball,
it's like, why is that
with 18 seconds left on the shot clock? Like, what are we talking about? So all of that contributed to him getting benched in Washington, and then ended up having to come off the bench again and get back in the starting lineup. And late in the season, he was starting to turn it around. So hopefully he plays well and competently enough this year. Kuzma is off his rocker. If y'all saw that preseason, 4 air balls in the same game.
I did see that. And I also want to say this. Listen, no one's going to agree with me. So I'm not expecting anyone to agree with me. I'm saying it before I say this. I actually can't believe I'm saying this. Hayes, I'm a little disgusted in myself for saying this. But dare I say, I think the Wizards are going to be more fun to watch this year. And I say this from the perspective than what they were last year. Mainly because of this, right? Alex Sarr was dog shit in summer league. Mm-hmm. He was much better in preseason. I got to give him that.
He was.
Jordan Poole, dog shit last year. I think he's going to look a lot better this year. And here's the big phrase. Kuzma, this might be the year Kuzma finally gets traded. And I think when that happens, like, the reins of the team are going to be passed on. Bub Carrington will get more overall usage. So will Alex Sarr. We know what Jonas Valanciunas does on bad teams. Like, I think they're just going to be one of those teams that, wow, like, they're actually in a dogfight with a good team. Let me watch. Like, they're going to be more fun to watch, I think, than last year, which is saying something.
I mean, from a shootout perspective, but like defensively, they're going to be dog water.
No, they should be dog. But listen, that's where Alex Sarr comes into, like, you know, help set some type of floor. Also, Bilal, like, this could be another breakout defensive year from him too. So I hear that. I think my dog shit team that will not be fun to watch is not the Wizards. For me, it's probably the Nets.
Oh yeah. Listen, I've said it before on the show, I believe. The only thing that's going to be fun to watch about the Nets is to see if Cam Thomas breaks the record in most shots taken in the NBA season. Because he's just going to be chucking, bro.
Probably.
He's going to, like, I don't know what the record is. He may break that record. He's going to get 30 shots a game.
And
I ain't gonna lie, Ben Simmons is gonna be funny to watch too. Ben Simmons is gonna be funny to watch.
Off season, what y'all know about off season workout Ben Simmons? Well, for besides the past 5 fucking years, like we
it's crazy how Dennis Schroeder might be the only real point guard on the roster, which is why he's in my fantasy.
So number to watch. Most shots taken in the NBA season, 1961-62. Wilt Chamberlain took 3,159 shots.
No, he's not breaking that.
I'm taking over. I don't care. It's a wreck.
Wait a minute. How many shots did Cam take last year?
I mean, he did miss like 20 games last year. Hold on, let's take a look.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, honestly, bro. Because 3K is high. No, like that is a crazy amount of shots. That's crazy. And his will too. Any record is hard to show to beat.
He took 1,190 shots last year.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, bro. 3K. Oh my god!
I didn't realize that's the record. That's a wild record, bro. Like,
I don't think that record's gonna be touched like that. Not in shit. 3K.
I mean, Wilt has the top 5. The
He has the top five. Wow.
Top 5. 3,159 and 61, 62. 62,
Okay.
63, 2,770.
Okay.
Then he had 2,457, 2,311, and 2,000, and then 2,298.
Wait a minute.
That's
What's the
right.
most like modern one on like the whole list? If you can find
Michael
that.
Jordan, 1986, 87, 2,279 shots.
Jesus, Michael
The-
Jordan is the closest modern one. Wow.
The only one in the 2000s is Kobe.
Yes, sir.
In the
Okay.
2005, 2006 season,
Oh,
he
of
took
course.
2,173 shots.
And that's like what number 8 on the list?
Number 11 on. It's not even in the top 10.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah.
all
bro.
y'all talking about Kobe as a shot chucker.
I mean, Cam might end up on the list this year though.
Cam
Oh,
Thomas
he
is
may
definitely
very well be in the list. Like how many did I say he had? So he
said
only played 66 games last year, and he
Yeah.
had almost 1,200 shots.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he plays more, with Mikhail gone, the shot should go up in theory. The only thing is like people are focused on Cam Thomas. I think people have to realize the more durable player that's going to have the ball more on this team is really Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
A lot of like, I think Dennis might have a sneaky breakout year just from the sense of they have no other reliable ball handler. Cam Thomas is not initiating any offense. Ben Simmons is mainly going to be transition if he plays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting
you
stuff for
got
sure.
Cam Johnson chilling over there.
I don't think Cam Johnson is going to be on the team by the end of the year.
Cam
personally.
Johnson reminds me so much of Tobias Harris in the way that you can watch a game and forget he's playing.
You know
Sorry.
who? Well, I know that not in play style, but
Yeah.
Cam Johnson reminds me a lot of. He's a Carlos Boozer that shoots 3-pointers.
Oh.
Carlos Boozer, but the thing is, I knew Boozer was playing though. Like
That's
I swear
true.
to God,
That's true.
Cam Johnson, I be looking like, damn, did you play tonight?
Yeah.
36 minutes. Where?
No facts though. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, you played 30. Dang, you played 38. You had 5 and 5. Damn. My bad. Shit. I'm sorry.
We just completely killed both
Oh.
Cams on the Nets.
Hayes,
Go ahead.
I got the pick for you now. Okay. So listen, it's been a while since our last episode. Now, Hayes, I told you this on our podcast. I told you this in the offseason. I told you this on this show closer this season. Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball, baby.
We seen him.
Have we
You
gotten
seen
to talk about
Lonzo?
Lonzo Ball yet?
We
haven't.
have not talked about it. No, we've not.
Listen, I try my best not to bring Bulls topics unless y'all bringing them up to the show because I'm the
Yeah,
Bulls guy,
yeah.
right? So I try,
Yeah.
in fairness, not to make it about the Bulls, but Lonzo looks like Lonzo Ball, and that's crazy to say after
look
being out of
good, bro.
basketball for 3 years. That's crazy.
Yes.
to say.
Look, when I tell you
To me-
the NBA need a comeback player of the year, dog, like, and I
I
mean,
think
like,
Sam.
they did make it an official thing, didn't they?
did they do it? Did they?
Oh, they did? Okay.
I think
If
they
they
did.
great, Lonzo up for consideration. If
I think Lonzo got it.
because stories like this, like you can only put it in terms of Kevin Durant's Achilles, and him coming back more efficient than ever, and with a
Yeah.
different understanding of the game. But through that injury, battling through it, and then coming back after taking a long period of time off, Lonzo. I mean, I was happy to see Zach LaVine getting this man into the mix. Like you could just tell that. he was bringing
Yeah.
like to his team, bro. Like that is crazy.
Yeah, the whole team was really behind them, but the best shit, and Hayes, as a Bulls fan, you can definitely tell me what you thought was the best. But the thing that I liked beyond the 3-point shot falling in was like the motor he played with, and more importantly, like getting the loose ball and being so confident that you're like diving out of bounds.
That's what I was gonna say. That was the
without
moment
thinking
for me.
about it.
That's
That
literally
was the moment for me. Yeah.
Most of the times when players are coming back from knee injuries, it's that period of time where they got to trust the knee, right? That you got to get over that mentally of trusting the knee.
Absolutely.
Lonzo doesn't seem to have when he dived for that loose ball and went into the
And then saved it too
bench.
behind the back too.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, Lonzo's back.
Yeah.
That's Lonzo's back. Now he's still going to be on a heavy minutes restriction. Billy Donovan came out today and said that the way that they're going to run it is that Lonzo's basically going to be on the court when Josh Giddey's sitting. So they're going to stagger
Okay,
it that
bet.
way.
Word.
And I think that's smart, right? Because if Josh
that's
Giddey
good.
plays 32 minutes a game, that leaves 16 for Lonzo to play. And that way you're always having a high-level playmaker out there for your team. I think that's really smart. So I think that's
And then we trade Zach LaVine, then he'll get more minutes.
I don't know. I think they're always going to keep him on minutes restriction this season. Personally, I could be wrong on that. I just think this first season they're probably going to keep him on a minutes restriction. So
no. I think for the majority of the season he'll be on it. I'm just saying like he'll probably get like a slight uptick that still has a cap on it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like he was so fun to watch, man. The threes, the passing, it was just very tuned in. The other player, by the way, which we didn't get a chance to at all address. He's looking like Kawhi, man. I was surprised in preseason. I'm not saying he is Kawhi Hayes. I'm not, right? He got to show us the shot aggression building up more, but I was very impressed. He looked good. I don't know how you feel about it because you're probably not buying that shit in any way, shape, or form.
Kawhi Leonard?
Listen, the shot animation looked like Kawhi. That's all I'm saying. It looked like it. It wasn't Kawhi, but it looked like it.
We'll let it. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Listen, no faith. I'm just
saying what it looked like.
My era of Bulls fandom comes down to this. I'm in my show me era. If it's not shown, I don't believe shit.
Hey, no, facts.
No.
Listen, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I was watching the preseason game and it's like, damn, the fade looked just like. I know that shit fake, but it looked like it though.
But the problem with Pat is that Pat at any point, like it's always like 4 games a season where you'll be like, well, what the fuck this been at for the last
yes, and then
games?
The other 15 is just mid.
Yeah, it's just like
yeah.
It was. I remember. I think it was the last game of the season 2 seasons ago when the Minnesota Timberwolves set everybody, but Ant was there, and it was literally there was like a 5-minute stretch where it was Ant versus P. Will, and P. Will was giving it to him, and I was just
like, where is this on a more consistent basis? I agree. So listen, because of that, I'm with you. I do feel like the Zach LaVine trade is going to open up more usage for Kobe White and these other players. But that's even if he gets traded, because Zach also looks back to being himself. I've been saying Zach LaVine's not that bad of a basketball player. He showed it all preseason. We got to see how the actual season goes. But Bulls will be on my TV.
Healthy.
Yeah, we're gonna play a fun brand of basketball, I think. And Billy Donovan came out as well today and said that no player is gonna play over a 9-minute stint. Basically, they're gonna go 10 players deep consistently. That way, they can keep it fresh and keep the up tempo going. And listen, if those things happen, it's gonna be a fun brand of basketball. I don't know how many wins it's gonna get us, but at least it'll be a lot more fun than watching us dribble the air out the ball in half court for 15 seconds out of a 24-second shot clock. So.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Mitsu. We didn't read off your super chat. Appreciate you for tuning in to from the logo. We're gonna be up for sure this year. Big shout out to Mitsu. We didn't see that.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, bro. So let's get into the players that did not get their contract extensions. We already talked about Cam Thomas. Any other thoughts on Cam Thomas other than what we said? Other than he's gonna get a lot of shots. All right, cool.
Go get buckets. They'll figure everything else out later.
Cooper Flight sweepstakes.
And the Nets are in a place where they don't have the Nets are going to have $80 million in cap space this upcoming offseason. 80. So no other team has more than 30. That's how much cap space that they have. There's no rush. Even if they let them go into restricted free agency, no team can outbid you. There's no point in signing them right now. Just let
them
go
get whoever they want in restricted free agency, bro. Like it's scary.
No, it doesn't matter. And I'll tell you what, I know that the Nets suck, but for any restricted free agent that's out there, that team is like, for example, let's say the Warriors do play with Jonathan Kuminga. He'd be like, all right, I'm going to go sign an offer sheet with the Nets.
They can go get Kuminga. They can go get Kuminga for sure.
And then the Warriors are going to look at it and have to say, well, shit.
Got a match. What
are we going to do? So you got that. Of course, Kuminga did not resign. We touched on that a little bit. Bones Highland, anything there?
I mean, he's just in a tough situation because he could be a cool young player that really develops further, but I just think his course kind of ran with the Clippers. I don't think he's going to be there long term, and he's more of like a spark plug, go get a bucket type of guy. I don't think you can like viably start him as a real starter in the league, but he has starter level moments for sure.
Yeah, that's the weird part about him because like his defense was god awful. And that was one of the main reasons why they really couldn't keep him on the floor. But from a, get the place bumping perspective, like he can knock down a 30-foot bomb and the place will erupt and evoke a run that they go on. So tough, but like Gifty said, his time ran out there just like it did with Denver. So
yeah, I just look at
Sure.
Bones Highland is that he's a player that's fun to watch, but
Yeah.
like you can replace Highland pretty easily.
yeah,
You can replace it for sure.
Yeah,
like are they now are they losing sleep? Maybe not over Bones Highland. Overall, yes, they are losing sleep.
Oh, the Clippers should lose sleep every day. Like,
yeah, they lose sleep every day and every night.
Yeah.
Steve,
but not over
Steve
Bones
Ballmer
Highland.
probably wakes up in the middle of his sleep like, you motherfuckers, just randomly. Like,
At least you got toilets.
It's like the amount of money I done spent, like, yo,
yeah.
I'd be heated too.
Trey Man, anything with Trey Man with the Hornets?
I like Trey Man.
I like Trey Man too, yeah.
I feel like this is the year for Trey Man, and I say this because as a backup for the Hornets, I think he's good at pace. He's good at 3-point shooting. Last year, he showed you a lot of times where he could give you 18, 8, and 8. I like guards who can like rebound the ball and shoot at a high level. And I think playing in that system with Charles Lee, who I think is going to be a very good coach this year, I think he's going to be a big contributor. And I think after this season, he will get paid. I do believe that.
Okay.
All right. I'm hyped for him, but the Hornets, their season success depends on Melo. So
got to play more than 22 games. That shit is not going to cut it, bro.
Listen,
22 games is crazy.
I said it before on the show. I'm a Hornets truther. I believe the Hornets could very well. I'm not even talking about playing. I think they could contend for a playoff spot, but it all comes down to health. They got to be healthy to do it.
Health.
So
I think Brandon Miller is going to have another boom year.
Yep.
The way if you look at Brandon Miller and how he got better, basically every month of the season last year, like this is a lot of reason to be excited about him coming into this year.
Sure.
So
sure.
I guess we got to talk about Josh Giddey. No contract since he was reportedly seeking $30 million a year. How you guys feeling about that with the Bulls?
Listen, I am so like, it's so weird because I feel like I'm a Bulls fan this year. I'm not, but like I'm locked in on Josh Giddey because I'll never forget he had some good moments in his career before last year. Also, before the playoffs started, Shea was playing, I think, more limited times, and Josh Giddey was playing extremely well. I think with the Bulls giving him more usage, he's going to have a big role to play this year. And the fact that he did not get extended, this is also a contract year for Josh Giddey, technically. So I'm expecting to see the best of Josh Giddey that we can see, which is why I have him and Kobe White on my fantasy team. We up. Listen, every night the Bulls play, Hayes, I'm leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with something. Listen. Josh Giddey, you can shit the bed. Kobe White gotta be Kobe. You can listen. Yeah. I'm leaving here with something every night.
That's funny as shit.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, for me, like with Josh, I knew it was his contract year. So anytime there's a contract year for a player that you see good spurts in at certain points in time, you're rooting on them to have a big year.
Ooh.
For Josh. What's up, Gifty?
I'm sorry. That's a good shout. Brandon Ingram to the Hornets.
Yeah. I like
isn't
that.
bad.
I like that. It's not bad at all. And considering that Brandon Ingram's face isn't going to change no matter where he goes, I feel like it'll work itself out. Like, bro, gonna still have that resting, I don't give a shit about nothing but basketball.
I kind of like it because you could play LaMelo at the 1. You could function Brandon Miller as the 2 guard.
Yeah.
Because he can ball handle, and then you put BI at the 3. Not bad.
Decent.
I just don't know who they trade. I don't know who they trade money wise though. That the Pels would want is the only thing about that.
His contract? How much is he making per year?
Brandon, like 36.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say 37. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you could be able to figure out something, a combination of players or something, but. If you look at it like he's in a situation, there's another thing too we didn't talk about. Brandon Ingram is in a very weird situation. He's probably in the weirdest spot.
Did not get extended. Yeah.
Like out of anybody in the Western Conference. Like you don't know what your place is on this team. And at one point they had went balls to the wall for you and CJ McCollum. Like, bruh. And then now to look at that and say, okay, now they got DeJounte over here. My money negotiations have still gone nowhere. And it's been the same thing. It's been just growing at this point, season by season, month by month. And now it's a situation where, Zion comes back looking better than ever, but you are the one Pelican that they're looking at with who they think got 1 foot out the door or is about to have both out the door. So we're going to see.
Oh, hang on. I just looked up the money. Miles Bridges makes 27.
27 days.
How much does Mark Williams make? Because they need a big man too. Let's not forget about that.
They do. Damn straight. Damn skip.
Mark Williams. Then the Hornets won't have a big man though.
Yeah, that's the problem with that though. Because if they trade they big, they're not gonna have a big man to get that trade done. So I don't know.
Yeah. Damn.
I mean, Mark Williams and Miles Bridges will get it done, but it's like, all right, what are you doing there for your own center position?
And it's like, do you like necessarily need Brandon Ingram? No. You could trade for him, but do they like need BI? Not really, because technically speaking, you could also play Brandon at the 3 and be just fine.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see what happens there.
We'll see.
Yeah, no other real notable. I mean, Chris Duarte, he didn't get his contract extension. Nobody cares.
Hang on. Did we talk about the Nuggets with Aaron Gordon?
No, that's next. We're still on the rookie contract.
Where?
We are going to get on. I mean, that's the next thing. Aaron Gordon. How much did Aaron Gordon get? Why did I lose my?
I'm pretty sure he's making $33 million a year. I believe for Denver over, I think 4 years with no player option. I think. If I know ball, I might know ball slightly. Google it real quick. Hang on, let me see.
Why is it not pulling up? I had a whole thing of notes here that just my computer's moving slow as shit too, so I don't know what that's about. 4 years, $133 million is what he got.
4 years, 133. So
it does have a player option in the last year, so it does have.
It does have a player option.
Yep.
Okay, bet. Yeah, that's not bad value for Gordon. I think that came out to just about $33 million annually. Which honestly, for what he does, is not bad at all because he's like a cog of their big four. I know that KCP is gone, but their core four was Jokic, Jamal, MPJ, and him. So losing him would have hurt their team a lot, but they also didn't want to overpay him. I think that's a good balance between paying him and not overpaying him. So that's not bad value to me.
Yeah, I mean, and when you're in the spot that the Denver Nuggets are in, where they've lost so many role players, like I get it that they may even look to move on from Aaron Gordon at some point, but now you got him locked into a contract extension, and if you do move him, it is what it is. Like that's what we're seeing a lot of teams do now. Like you may still move on from a player, but you get locking them into that extension to actually get you a little bit more on a potential deal because the team acquiring them doesn't have to negotiate. So,
facts. That's facts.
How you feeling, ZZ?
I think that's pretty good value. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the slate for the night game, making sure my parlay look good. I bet the unders on everyone.
I feel like at this point I'm the only person that doesn't bet. I don't bet.
No, listen. It's funny because I didn't even know you could bet on games until like maybe 4 to 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then I got into it 2 years ago and I was heavy on it. And then out of nowhere, I just stopped. Thankfully, I'm not addicted to gambling. Chad, do not get addicted to gambling.
Yeah,
so I stopped.
Please don't.
Might get back in on it a little bit this year. We'll see. But I've noticed sometimes like it'd be tough because when you got your money on a player and they underperform, you start to get mad at that player a lot.
You look at them differently.
And like, especially when you're like us, Hayes, and we like all watch basketball. When you start watching shit, like, wait a minute. So you're telling me you played 35 minutes. They gave you the ball all these times and you didn't score not once? Yeah. It's like that's how I knew, okay, Killian Hayes, you might not be an NBA player. Now he came back on the Nets, but we know what time that is. So
that's a fact.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then I look at it as another thing too. If you do bet conservatively and don't bet. I bet when I have $5 to spare and I can cook up a 6-pick parlay and live with the results of it. But like Gifty said, if there are certain players that you look at and you're like, bro, when Max Kellerman said fate of the universe on the line and he said he wanted Andre Iguodala, right?
Not it.
Put that into comparison of me and my $5 with a profit boost. And I'm not fate of the universe ain't on the line for everybody else, but for me and my bank account, that's what's on the line.
Yeah.
So I put that.
I had a friend of mine that put $25 on Jaylen Brown to score 22 points. And he had 19 in the first half and finished with 21. And he forever hates Jaylen Brown. yeah, he had 19 in the first. He was like, that's a smash lock, got it. And then he scored 1 point for the rest of the second half.
Hell no, that is insanity.
Brutal.
That's why I don't bet. I ain't got time. I like my money too. I work too hard for my money. So
I feel that. That's facts. I feel that for sure. So
we'll see how that works out. But Aaron Gordon's decision just makes sense for the Denver Nuggets. I think that's where they are. I don't know if you guys saw. I know NBA came out with their power rankings. Bleacher Report also came out with their power rankings, and they had the Denver Nuggets ranked as the third best team in the league. I'm like, where?
Oh, shit.
Did they make a mistake? Did they think it was still 2022? Like,
Nah. Like,
that's what a championship does, man.
Did they have the Thunder over them?
No.
Who was over them? Minnesota.
It was Boston, of course, Minnesota, and the Knicks, and then it was the Denver Nuggets.
Oh.
Boston, Minnesota, Knicks, Denver.
Hold on now. How quickly they forget. Damn. That's
yeah, OKC not being top 4 is kind of crazy to me.
That's what I'm saying.
OKC to me should have the second best odds to win.
Thank you. I was going to say, if you
I heard
told
that too.
me, Hayes, if you had said that the one team over them, which I didn't know it was 2, but if the one team over them was OKC, I wouldn't have batted an eye. But Minnesota, I'm slightly wincing. And then New York, I'm like, hold on now. Have y'all seen Mikal Bridges' jump shot? And for some reason, he tweaked it. I just saw a video of him warming up just now, and he missed 3 straight. So I bet the under on him, and I'm proud of it. I hope to come to fruition because shit.
Bro, he went 0 for 12 in the pre. Like, I don't know why such a good shooter is tweaking his shot form when you were valid without it. Yeah. And I got to be honest, Mikal, if you've been watching, he has not looked the same offensively or defensively since he left the Suns or that first year on the Nets. He just hasn't. And if they're getting that version, the Knicks are not going to be as good as people think. Because especially when your backup big is Jericho Sims, if Cat gets hurt on top of that, it's like, bruh, it's going to be tough, man.
Yeah. That's what I feel like Knicks fans, for some reason, keep just like not pointing out when they're talking about Knicks mania and shit. I'm like, dude, one little tweak to Cat, one little tweak to Big Purr, and everything that you thought you could deal with inside on the interior is done. And I love Cat. But him at the 5, I love Cat offensively. I've wanted to love Cat defensively, but that's something that he hasn't like improved on as much to the extent that you might need when you look at how the league isn't like center heavy, but it's center top heavy. So you have Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid that are the biggest ones, and then everybody else is essentially Anthony Davis and fucking Cam Cat battling out for that other, and then now Wembanyama. So it's starting to have its like Renaissance era, but you don't want to fall behind in that, nigga. I know you said you was the best, shooting big of all time, and you might be. You genuinely might be. I'm not even really trying to refute that. But the one thing that's followed you your whole career is being soft. Last year, you were the one player in the playoffs that actually effectively was really doing something against Nikola Jokic. So this season, in terms of what your expectations are, not only that, but you're playing in New York. Not only that, your head coach is Tom fucking Thibodeau. So if you think you're giving him your all on the court, he gonna find another way to pull the last little bit you ain't think you had in you out of you. That's what he gonna do or attempt to do. So
or you're gonna get hurt.
Or you're gonna get hurt trying.
And we hope that doesn't happen, but I got to be real. Even without injury, something else I realized is his fouling shit is gonna be way more important on this team because beforehand, okay, Cat he fouled twice early. We'll bring in Nas Reed earlier. And we'll make it by, right? With this shit, it's like, no, if Cat picks up fouls early, big man wise, all they have is basically Precious, who's hurt right now, or Jericho Sims. That's just a bad front court rotation, man. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 games to preview tonight, fellas, before we get up out of here. First up, the NBA is kicking off with a hellacious game. The New York Knicks in Boston, ring night. How you guys feeling about this game?
First of all, perfect transition from talking about the Knicks into opening night. Knicks Celtics is always a fun first game. Every time they do it, it's always fun. This is where we have to pull out our diamond testers on Mikal Bridges because he's going to determine a lot in this game to me in terms of his game offensively and defensively. I think OG Anunoby is going to be huge too. Normally, he does a pretty good job on Jason Tatum. He's healthy out the gate. So the Knicks starters are going to be there to play. I don't think they play particularly great in preseason all the time, but they have some very good standout moments and some other moments that asked of us to want to see more. So seeing this against the best team in the league, for a lot of people, and seeing how they match up, even though there is no Porzingis in this matchup, is kind of critical. So I do want to see exactly how they're able to be at their best in this matchup for sure.
Yeah. For me, I got Boston winning, mainly because I've seen Mikal Bridges' jump shot throughout the preseason, and that shit is ass.
That shit looks bad. I'm sorry.
That shit is doggy doo. But at the same time, when I compare both teams, and I think to myself, which team would logically be more ready to go? The team that just had the new acquisitions in the offseason and departures and shit, and has to literally figure out what type of team they are, it can be with the team, with the stars, role players that they have, or a team that just won the championship and was able to retain virtually everybody. So from that standpoint alone, not to mention the fact that I think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to be looking for blood this year.
Especially Tatum.
Especially Jason Tatum. Oh Lord. And there is a big part of me that wants to see that happen. I really do, for Jason Tatum, because I think that a player of his talent or skill set should be able to have a little bit more respect put on his name, instead of people treating him like they should be treating Sabrina Ionescu from her performance.
1 for 19.
Shit was egregious.
He is bad.
But anyway, yeah, between the two teams, I think the Celtics are more ready. And the Knicks, I think they're going to take a little bit of time to get rolling. Maybe 3 weeks to a month to really figure out that chemistry, figure out everybody's roles. I'm very interested to see what Josh Hart's role is in this offense. It was very sketchy throughout the preseason. Mikal, of course, you're hoping that he can knock down the long ball, but if he can't because this nigga forgot how to shoot, then you're going to be relying on somebody to take the role of Dante DiVincenzo. It might be Deuce McBride, who knows, as that spot-up three-point threat. But if it can't be Mikal Bridges, who was known for being a valuable, when we talk about 3-and-D guys, he was the pinnacle of that. And then you have OG, who I don't think he's not as good of a three-point shooter as Mikal, but you would be asking for him to do that.
And he's still good.
And he's still solid enough. Anthony Towns, I think he was in a shooting slump in the preseason. He's going to be fine. I'm very interested to see the pick and rolls between him and Jalen Brunson, because a threat of his caliber, I know Julius Randle shot the same exact amount of threes on volume, I think, last year as Cat, but Cat is Cat, and Julius Randle is Julius Randle. So there's going to be a difference in that field alone. But another part of me, like Gifty said, once the Knicks and the Celtics play on free TV, the shit is good. Like, the shit is going to
be live for sure. Yeah.
So we're going to see it. But I got the Celtics winning tonight.
Oh, I didn't give who I have winning. I have the Knicks winning tonight, mainly because Thibodeau's been playing them more. And I feel like they have more to prove in this overall matchup. I think without Porzingis, the impact of what Cat is going to do offensively is going to stretch them out a bit further. And Boston doesn't really play many teams that can go with their 5-man being out on the perimeter. I think it's going to be a very close matchup because of this. So I have them winning game one. I still think Boston's a better team, but in terms of the first matchup, I have the Knicks.
All right, for sure.
I can understand that. I think it just comes down to this. I also look at the fact that there's no Kristaps maybe until the new year swings, and I think the Knicks are going to be able to take advantage of that today. I actually think that the Knicks win this game tonight as well. So,
okay,
that's my pick. Next up, Minnesota versus the Lakers. I'm going to bury the lead here.
Woo!
Minnesota's about to kill them. But go ahead.
No, listen. I like Hayes. I like you saying this because in my head I'm like, okay. So ESPN, which I don't watch too much of anymore, but in the clips I've seen, they're all talking about LeBron and Bronny. They got like big star names coming to the game to see Bronny and LeBron. Like, they're making it a spectacle. And if there's one thing I know in the LeBron James era for Lakers, whenever there's some spectacle game, the Lakers get their ass bust consistently. When LeBron was trying to break the record, OKC smoked them. When I forget the other games where like he said
it was basically every LeBron milestone in an LA uniform. In an LA uniform. I said the same thing to one of my boys at work. He was like, "Who you think gonna win tonight?" I was like, "I kid you not." Anytime that it's a special occasion, it ends with a Lakers L. I remember the game Kobe came. God rest his soul. Kobe came to the game for, I think it was it his jersey retirement and they fucking lost? So he left at halftime. Like, I was like, yo, this is insane. So
and yeah, and listen, ZZ just said exactly what I was gonna say. Anthony Edwards is a asshole. So them making this about Bronny, like I can see Anthony Edwards saying, fuck that, let me pick him up full court, full 94, give him the Lonzo Ball first game treatment, and he not getting no spectacle, no moment where they just like shut him out. I can see that happening for sure. For sure, I can see that.
And ain't going for that shit. I don't care about Julius Randle personally. I don't. But hopefully he's able to. He doesn't really have that big of a void to fill or hold a fill for the team because he's gonna still shoot those threes the same way Cat did. But you just gotta hope that he's knocking it down at a respectable clip in order to really maximize that offense. I think where the Timberwolves are going to separate themselves from other teams as the season goes on is off the bench. Because when you take a player like Dante DiVincenzo, a guy that Dante can be oh my God. When you take a player like Dante DiVincenzo, a player that can be inserted into the starting lineup, he is that much of a versatile role player. You could put him in the starting lineup and you can bring him off the bench.
Dante curling off Gobert screens.
Yeah, that and not even that. Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid off your bench.
That's nice.
That's and Rob Dillingham. So yeah, it's going the Timberwolves. I can't wait to see how they blend that. I'm more concerned with how Dante is going to gel than I am Julius because I really think Dante is going to be gunning to prove a lot of people wrong this year. Mainly Tom Thibodeau, but we'll see.
It's going to be a lot of proving of Tom Thibodeau wrong, but I think this could still be a fun game to watch. I'm not really high on the Lakers, but I do enjoy watching LeBron and AD play, and it could be a more entertaining game. It's a primetime game. Also, we got to talk about this. This is the last tip-off weekend on TNT Sports as well.
Yep.
It's crazy, man.
Yep.
End of an era.
End of era. This is going to be like I'm not going to lie to you. Charles Barkley is going for it. He going to be saying what like the unfiltered shit as much as possible because he know, okay, this is my last year. Bet I got you, America. Like, you know,
that is absolutely correct. And we'll see, man. We'll see what comes along for TNT Sports. Like, it sucks. The inside the NBA is going to be going away, but you know it is what it is when it comes down to it. Any last thoughts, fellas, before we get up out of here for today?
Hell, I need some water, cuz I am parched.
I'm excited for the NBA season. Can't wait to see how things go. Portland is another team I'm going to be monitoring because DeAndre Ayton needs to get traded. I think Donovan Clingan showed way too much impact in the game that I saw him play. I just think he does all the fundamental things you want a big to do a lot better. And I would love to see him get the opportunity with Scoot. Hopefully Scoot can have a bounce back year because he went from like the second best player in the draft pretty clearly to people saying he's a bust. I don't think that. Yeah. Hopefully he can show that this year.
Yeah, I'm rooting for everybody, bro. Bronny?
No.
Oh. Never mind.
I'm not rooting for that shit because I don't think he's good.
I'm rooting for Bronny because he is the top 5 draft prospect. And look at the way he catches the ball.
My top 5 draft prospect. Oh my God. No fucking way.
And look at the way he catches the ball. And his shot formation is very pretty. We're not talking about if it's going in or not, but it's very pretty. So,
the best thing about Bronny James' game is that Bryce is coming.
Yeah.
The best part about Bronny's game is Bryce on the way. That's funny.
On the way.
That's funny. Wow.
That's the best thing.
It's gonna be one of the only instances where the sequel is better than the first movie.
Yeah, that's
bro. It's so crazy because they're only playing him tonight so he can have the moment with LeBron. I'm telling you, if the Wolves just say that shit not happening, he might not get another chance this year to get that off.
If Bronny goes to the G League, though, I think he'll be solid. Like he'll be able to fully develop because he has the potential on. If you have potential on, like I said, in some way, shape, or form, whether it be on the defensive end or the offensive end. The one thing that you look at a player like Bronny and you say is like, how can he develop and where can he progress in certain areas? Defensively, he's a natural when it comes to that side of the floor, it seems like, or at least he's inherited, LeBron's chase down gene from time to time. But offensively, if they are able to continuously move forward and progress his jump shot, develop that, then he could be serviceable. And then from there, the sky's the fucking limit until LeBron retires, and then niggas are like, "Ha, all right, Bronny, we'll see you in China." But we'll see.
Wong Dong Tigers, Bronny James coming your way.
And Ben Simmons.
And Ben Simmons.
They might not even want Ben Simmons, bro. Like, do you know how terrible mental health advocates are in China, bro? He's good,
God.
bro. He's done.
I didn't think about that. They not go. They don't
give a shit about mental health in China, bro. They look at him and be like, "Hey, bitchy son, what you doing?" Let me stop.
Bitchy son is crazy. Wow.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of From the Logo Podcast. Before I get myself canceled, we appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. You guys can catch us next Tuesday as well at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We got this one.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Bitchy son is wild, though.
Bitchy son is hilarious.